Hello everyone and welcome to our Game Week 23 preview show. If you've not watched or listened to us before, then welcome. I'm Chris and with me is the other half of the FPL Cougars team, Kieran. Hello.
Good evening, alright?
Yeah, good. Yeah, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good.
Cool. Right, so it's been a little over a week since we last recorded, but we're now back to our regular format and we're going to be coming with at least one show a week, I think, right up to Game Week 38. Tonight we're going to be analysing the upcoming fixtures, talking captains, differentials, form players, transfers, and picking out some clean sheets, as well as answering some questions from you guys. Thanks for submitting those on Twitter earlier today. I think the main news today is Kane's injury, which sees him ruled out until March. So we're going to swap the format of the show around a little bit just to talk about him at the very top of the show because he's on everyone's mind at the moment. But before we get into that, we'll run through our Game Week 22 scores. So, Keith, do you want to kick us off and let everyone know how you got on?
Yeah, it was 60 points. It was a very small green arrow from 89,140 to 89,011. So 129 green arrow, which is basically nothing in the grand scheme of things. So basically broke even, I suppose. But yeah, I guess happy with that. Stopping the red arrows. Yeah, hopefully I can continue. I've only got sort of maybe one real horrible injury or sort of issue now in my squad of Kane, obviously, and then a possible move of 2 free transfers because I rolled it last week of taking out Alonso as well to possibly free up funds because I need to get Salah in now because Kane's not really an option for captain, obviously. And Salah is just going to be mass captain next week, so yeah, he's definitely got to come in. Yeah, 60 points. Happy enough. Sterling captain kind of did okay. Sort of survived Salah, just about. Survived Aubameyang, so I was kind of worried about him as well. And then survived Hazard as well. So yeah, Digne, Robertson, Sterling, Rashford, Pogba, all bringing in points, so did okay.
Yeah, the way you say survived about each of those players makes me think you're really worried about not owning a lot of players.
It's really scary not owning them.
Yeah. I was quite similar to you, really. I ended on 58 points. I had like 52 by the end of the day on Saturday, so Sunday and Monday were a bit of a washout for me. Had Salah captain with the penalty. He was pretty much my main point scorer. I had my 2 transfers this week. I had 2 saved, and I thought Alex McCarthy, who I brought in for Southampton's decent run of fixtures and new manager bounce, I thought I'd take advantage of that over Christmas. And then to see him dropped in favour of Gunn in Game Week 19, I thought, well, that looks like it's going to be a continued situation, and with Gaeta providing great value at Palace, I thought I'll make that switch. How could that possibly go wrong? So that was one of them, and the other one I took Lovren out, who'd done really well for me, returning 15 and 5 points in the 2 game weeks I started him, and I still like Liverpool's fixtures, so I doubled up on brought Trent in for Lovren, and whilst Trent brought in the clean sheet for me, to see Gaeta get substituted before half time and pick up that 1 point was a bit gutting, especially considering McCarthy came back in. So yeah, the 50.
You must have been worried at the start of the game where he went down in pre-training thing or the warm-up.
Yeah,
must have been scared there.
I didn't actually hear about that until after the game had finished, and so yeah, it was a bit of a. I think it's a calf injury as well, so I don't think he's going to come back quickly, and it's a bit of a difficult one because he's a goalkeeper at a 4.2, and there isn't really many in that low budget bracket really. So I'm a bit contemplating what to do with that one. But yeah, the 58 points saw me drop from 32k to 36k, so it's not too bad. And as I say, I've got lots of flags in my team now, so we're going to address that and other things in the show tonight. Before we move on to the preview then and the game by game analysis, we just want to take our usual spot or take our moment to look at the FPL Cougars League. And we've got to shout out once again Shannon, who scored an impressive 87 points this week. That was the best of the top 200 managers in the league, as I went through and checked and said, is anyone going to better her score? So she was already top. She's now moved to the 7th in the world, which is just incredible. And the back, the incredible plays. And the back line is working out really well for her. So she's got Robertson, Luiz, Digne, Etheridge. So they all returned big points this weekend with Salah captain. She actually played 4-5-1 this weekend. She benched Jimenez, and she's gone with a move which I think a lot of people are going to go towards now, is two cheaper strikers. No premium striker. She's got Rashford and Jimenez up there, and I think it's Kamara, or she might even have success. But yeah, excellent. She's only 50 points behind first place and all her chips to play. So yeah, keep it up.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, really well done. Would like to say she's took advice from us, but probably not.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I was flailing about outside the top 25k.
Yeah.
Right then, so we're going to start by talking about Spurs Fulham. We usually do the fixtures in order of what they're going to happen, but such is the news with Kane, we want to touch on this straight away because we both got him and we both want to talk about him. So, initial reaction from you watching the game. Did you think, was there anything in your mind which was like, oh gosh, that does look bad, I want to take him out Sunday night?
Well, no, not really. I mean, it looked like his ankle went over just by itself, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think you said you saw it. I missed it, actually. But yeah, I think he actually played well in the game. He was kind of unlucky. David De Gea just had a blinder, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
And yeah, you can say they were just sort of kind of right at him, whereas towards his leg areas where, that's where he excels as a keeper, doesn't he? But yeah, I thought Kane was unlucky. Another day he could have had a brace at least. And there's definitely goals in that game, and United sort of just claimed on really just due to De Gea. And then he gets this sort of tackle at the end. He got an ankle goes down, looks like he's hobbling off at the end. And then the news breaks today that he's out until at least March with ligament damage or something on his ankle. So yeah, not great. And obviously Kane's is going to be mass transferred out because why would you keep him with all that money? And his value's going to drop like a stone, so we're probably going to have to act fast, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the news only broke, what was it, early afternoon sometime today, so we're recording this at 8, probably about 3 or 4 hours after that news is broken. He's already been transferred out by over 250,000 people. So we kept an eye on the trends, and it seems Rashford is by far and away the most selected replacement. This week alone he's seen 350,000 transfers, so that will come from other players. But Aubameyang, by comparison, who I'd say is probably the second choice pick. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, he's only been brought in by 50,000. So if you look at that from just a player by player point of view, that's 1 in every 6 is bringing Aubameyang to Rashford. So
most people already have Aubameyang that wanted him. They would have got him before for those fixtures, I think. So yeah, I am kind of looking at Aubameyang, but I kind of want to see maybe downgrade big time and put the money into midfield, I suppose. That seems to be the right way forward. The extra point for clean sheet, extra point for goal scored. And there doesn't seem to be many options in the striker bracket for Kane.
No,
really.
No, I think there was actually, I saw a stat actually from the official FPL account that tweeted out there was only, I think maybe 2 or 3 strikers in the game that scored more than 2 points or something like that this weekend, or selected by a certain amount of people. So I think that, especially with the value Rashford's offering, if at the moment he was 9 million or even 10 million, people would say it's a premium striker, you've got to go for Rashford. Even considering his scores, I'm saying, even the fact that he's 7 million providing just these great returns week after week, I think he's going to be in most people's teams.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of an issue a little bit for me because I already have Rashford, and I know Jimenez seems to be another option that people are looking at to downgrade to if they don't already have it. But I already have Rashford and Jimenez, so I kind of need to get Kane. I don't know. I've even been looking at Firmino. I don't know if that's possibly an option because obviously he had a hat trick and then a goal, and then he blanked against Brighton.
Yeah.
But he's got kind of form, and he is a streaky player, isn't he? And he's got great fixtures. So if I bring in Salah as well and Firmino, that could be good. With Trent out, their defense might get slightly more shaky. I kind of think maybe the opposite, like Milner or Firmino going in there. I think that'll probably make them better in defense because Trent isn't the best defender. So yeah, I'm thinking about Firmino as a way in possibly. Even Llorente, I don't know. Do you think he'd be first choice to start with Mora flagged, with Son out, with Kane out?
I think so. I think they need a
Yeah,
I think they need a focal point up front. I think they've just I think we saw in the FA Cup game that Llorente came in and can play that position well, especially when he's got the right. Granted, it wasn't against a great opposition in Tranmere, I think it was, but he's going to have Eriksen, Ali, Mora all supplying him. I do think that Spurs have taken quite a big hit in regard to injuries and transfers this week. If you think that Sissoko picked up that soft tissue injury, looked like a hamstring, he's going to be out for a while. The fact that Dembele looks like he's off to China despite being available. So, I mean, they could be going into the game away against Fulham, where I was thinking, Kane is a real strong consideration for a captain with Son not around. But they could be going in there with a midfield of Winks, Skip, and Llorente up front. So it's going to be an interesting time for Spurs. They've got great fixtures. So I think
if you want to punt, like,
on Llorente,
why not with Llorente? I think he does pretty much the same job Kane does, other than sort of maybe dropping deep and pinging balls. I think he's going to be the one that's just up the top.
Yeah.
And whenever he's come on, he's had relatively minor or not very often coming on very many chances. But when he has come on, he's had the kind of a few opportunities to get the goals. He's been kind of maybe a bit unlucky to not score when he's come on for 5 minutes. And obviously, like you said, in the FA Cup, he can do it. He can play that role. And the FA Cup opponents might not be much worse than Huddersfield and people like that are coming up soon. So,
And I also, in terms of a supply line, I wouldn't be surprised to see many Trippier assists, Llorente goals coming up in the next few weeks. I mean,
exactly.
The quality.
He loves a header.
Yeah, the quality of ball and assist Trippier was trying to provide on Sunday. I mean, Llorente's going to gobble them up, I would have thought. You know what he's like in the air. And I think they'll probably play to his strengths more, getting the ball wide and getting anything Eriksen as well. Might even play wider in some of those games to try and get it into him. But
he's 5.6 million, which I think is cheap.
Yeah, it's
really cheap. Yeah. That's in the bracket of Jimenez, and he's 0.3% owned. So that's massive differential. If he plays and gets any points, that's really good. With all the rest of the premiums not looking great options, the Aguero sharing minutes, Lukaku completely out of favour, Jesus rotatable as well, Aubameyang, tough fixtures. Arsenal just in general, I think, are looking a bit off form, looking a bit kind of back to crisis maybe. So there's not many options really. You can just punt on one. I don't think there's any standout option other than Rashford if you don't have him.
No, it's definitely. I can't wait because it's interesting because it's obviously awful to see a player get injured, but the way it throws open FPL makes things so interesting for the next few weeks. I mean, a lot of people have been talking for a while about how Kane hasn't been offering value, but he's been so consistent, hasn't he? Like 8 or 9 game weeks in a row, and now all that money tied up in him, people are going to upgrade their midfields, maybe their striking spot. I think in looking in terms of your team, with a lot of people will be in your situation. I think they'll have Rashford and Jimenez already, and they may already, and they're playing 3 up front with Kane. I think then you want to look to invest the money in midfield rather than a Llorente there. Just a more reliable.
100% Salah's coming in because he just has to, and he's the only player in the game that's really performing consistently, other than Rashford at the moment. And he's the nailed-on captain. Even in midfield, there aren't that many players that are performing consistently either. It's Salah. Yeah. Mane's not doing much. Hazard's not performing consistently. Eriksen, not really. Ali, no. KDB's not back yet. Sane, maybe slightly. Sterling, slightly. But there's Salah, and that's about it. But he's only had one goal from open play in the last 6 games, so that's a worry as well.
It is. All right. Well, I think we'll talk more about it, won't we, as we move through all the fixtures and talk about potential replacements. But I think we'll leave the individual Kane chit chat there for now. And should we just move on through and start having a look at Wolves and Leicester, which is the Saturday lunchtime kickoff?
Did you want to mention Fulham quickly as well? I was going to say they just today signed Ryan Babel.
I saw that. They need defenders. They do need defenders. Can Ryan Babel play centre back?
Maybe.
He better start playing there. But yeah, I saw that as well. I just grimaced and thought.
Do you think he'll be a midfielder or forward?
I think he'll probably be listed as a midfielder. If I recall.
Do you think he'll be an option? Like, he's pretty old, but
yeah, but he's been good recently. He's been doing well in the Champions League.
Yeah. I assume they'll play him, right?
I would have thought so. Yeah, I imagine they'll probably play 4-3-3 try and pack the midfield a bit more and play Barbel one side, Schürrle the other, and Mitrovic through the middle. I would have thought. I mean, Fulham fans, if I'm wrong, shout it out. But
and there was apparently a big bust-up between Mitrovic and Kamara as well. They were in a yoga session.
What?
And apparently they were at each other's throats. You're supposed to be relaxing, but apparently, they got in a big Barney and they were at each other's throats. And Ranieri was perplexed, just astonished about what was happening. So I don't know what that means for Kamara, if he's still going to get minutes. But shit is going down in that club at the moment.
He doesn't seem very chill, does he?
No, he seems like a bulldog or something.
Kamara, that is, with all the penalty, and then I hadn't heard about the yoga. Blimey. I don't know who would. I'd like to see like a little fight between those two, like a little scrap. I'm not sure who would win.
Yeah, Mitrovic seems pretty psycho and just.
But he's younger, isn't he? He's like a little baby, 24-year-old baby. Whereas Kamara's I don't know, big boy as well. All right. I hadn't really thought about much to say about Fulham. Just that I thought they'd lose the game with 2 own goals against.
I mean, with no Kane or no Son, I don't know if it'll be goals for Spurs. Really, I don't know. I mean, Ali seems to step up when there's no Kane.
Yeah.
I don't think since Son has arrived, they've never played a game without Kane or Son.
That's crazy.
One of them has always played. So, Ali usually steps up. Maybe he can do it again, but he hasn't looked on form either, really.
I don't think you can write them off. They've got the teams they're playing against are worse than they are even without Kane. So I think they'll be all right. They've got Fulham, Watford, Newcastle in the next 3, unless they've got 3 home games in a row after Fulham. So I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I think the Fulham game they can score well. I think Watford might be difficult. I think Newcastle might be difficult for goals. Yeah.
Keep an eye on it. Cool. All right. So let's start the main preview section with the lunchtime game. Wolves against Leicester. Now you made the decision to bench both of your. Your singular Wolf. Yeah.
Wolf. Right.
Singular Wolf asset. I don't know if you say that Wolves asset. Anyway, enough Wolf chat. Yeah, you benched Jimenez is what I'm trying to say against City, but he's back in the team for this Leicester game. And Leicester have lost 2 of their last 3, and the fans were going crazy, weren't they, after the game against Southampton, booing and shouting and other things.
They're so weird to judge, Leicester. Like they beat, who was it? City and Chelsea. They beat.
Yeah.
And then they lose to Cardiff and Southampton. Like, what the hell? What's going on? Like, it's so confusing. Puel's just not helping himself when he wins games like that and then loses random games to Cardiff and Southampton. It's just mind-boggling, really.
Yeah.
And there's Ricardo is the only player that looks worthwhile looking at. I mean, maybe Chilwell as well, but Ricardo Pereira at 5.3 now, 12.1% owned. Still got an assist in that game when they didn't do much. It was just one cross, I think it was. Oh no, sorry, not one cross. He had something like 12 crosses, 1 successful cross, which I can't remember who actually scored in that game for them. He got an assist, still looks decent. The next few fixtures are bloody horrible though. It's
they are, aren't they?
Liverpool, Man U, and Spurs in the next 4.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say buy Ricardo yet, but from game week 27, they look. He looks like a really good option because their fixtures are plum as plum as can get.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? 27 to 35. I've got them down as buy. I would have. It's strange because, like you say, they had those 2 good results over Christmas against Chelsea and Man City, 2 wins, and then I was listening to lots of phone-in shows from Leicester fans saying, but the real test will come in against the teams around us where Puel can't seem to get us up for it, or we're playing not the right style, and the callers that called in were proved right because they played poorly against sides that they should be expecting to beat at home. So it's an unusual one. And again, I'd say that the game the week before against Everton would have been another tricky game for them, but they came through it. They got the clean sheet, didn't they? And they got that Vardy goal on a bit of a counter-attack from a mistake, but it's an unusual one. So maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. Maybe we actually, what we should be saying is get Pereira in for the tough games. Liverpool, United, Tottenham, and then get rid of him for Palace at home.
Even Pereira, maybe it should be Vardy because Vardy loves goals against.
It does,
top. That's because that they like to play counter-attacking football against teams, the top 6 teams or whatever are going to attack.
Yeah.
They play counter-attacking football with Vardy over the top.
Yeah.
So that against tough teams like Cardiff or Southampton that are just it's gonna be equal, and they're gonna have to try and break them down. That just doesn't work for them at all. They just can't do it. They don't have Mahrez for that creativity anymore. No. So and Madison just isn't doing the job either, is he? So
well, he gets subbed as well, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Weirdly, he shouldn't do. I don't know. I think they either need to buy or get rid of Powell.
It's a shame, really. But Southampton fans said the same thing about him. It's just like his style of play wasn't suitable for them. But at the same time, they're hovering about 7th, 8th, 9th in the league at the moment. And when he left Southampton his final season, I think they finished 7th or 8th. So yeah, the grass isn't always greener. Look at Southampton now. They were in a right old state before Hasenhüttl took over. Well, anyway, I think it's going to be a home win for Wolves, despite the fact they've lost 2 of their last 3 at home. And I was looking at how they played against Palace, because that was their last home game, and they only had 1 shot on target in that game. So it's funny, Wolves, like similar to Leicester, really, they play well against the top teams. So with these 2 sort of mid-table teams coming up against each other, I think it's a difficult one to call, really. But I'm excited to play Doherty, because I think he's due some returns. Definitely not due a clean sheet, though, because they haven't had one in a long time now.
Don't see why not against Leicester. Yeah, I can't see much from them. I don't think they're going to be able to break much. I think it's going to be even again.
Yeah.
And Jimenez was taken off in the City game just because obviously they lost Bolly. I don't know. Who's going to be the replacement for Bolly? I guess like Saiss or something.
Yeah, maybe. Who was the lad that came in for Bennett a couple of weeks ago?
Dendoncker?
Yeah, maybe him then.
Yeah, I think it was Saiss that came in from.
Okay.
And then Dendoncker is kind of floating in between defence and midfield at the moment. So I guess it's either one of those 2. But are they going to be able to keep a clean sheet with him coming in? Maybe, maybe not. But I guess Doherty, you want attacking returns. But
well, I think it's the right. As I said about the clean sheet, I think they've only had 1 since game week 9. So I'm not so sure about investing in defence. But I mean, their fixtures are so good. They've got 3 of their next 4 at home: Leicester, West Ham, and Newcastle. And interestingly, with Jimenez, he was an option for me with downgrading Kane. He's actually only scored 3 goals. He scored 6 goals this season, and 3 of them against teams outside the top 6. So the fact that he's 50% of his returns are in those tougher games, it makes you think how he's going to get on in these next 6 or 7 game weeks, really.
Yeah, he worries me as well. But I think he's better with Jota, and Jota is back and fit again. So he's on. He's on for now. I'll keep him for now. See how he does over the next few, and then possibly downgrade as well. We'll see.
Now, I just want to mention this before we move on. Very quickly, Trent Alexander-Arnold replacements. One person. I'm not going to do it myself because I've already got Doherty. But if you're looking for a way into the Wolves' defence for this run, I would recommend Johnny, because 4.3, he's playing that wing-back role, and we saw earlier in the season he was getting forward as much as Doherty. I think he's just getting back up to speed after being out for a while. And they kept that clean sheet in the cup game against Liverpool. But the fact they haven't kept a clean sheet in the league is quite a worry. But I would expect them to pick up 1 or 2 in this run. And if he adds a goal or an assist in there somehow, I think he could be a good option for 4-3. So yeah, one to look at.
I mean, he's only got a goal and assist all season compared to Doherty, so that's obviously a slight worry. But 4.3,
it's not much of a risk, is it?
0.9 million cheaper. I've certainly looked at him. Obviously, I would like Doherty because I don't have either of them. Possibly as an Alonso downgrade, because obviously at the moment I've got him benched there.
Yeah.
So I don't know who else I would bench. But yeah, I would prefer to downgrade Alonso and then get someone like Johnny or Doherty in, because ownership and Alonso's out of sorts and Doherty is still as good. So is Johnny.
Yeah, no.
Bennett 4.1 if you want even cheaper than Johnny. So yeah.
If you want to scrape the barrel even further, it's Bennett. Cool. All right, so Bournemouth-West Ham is the first of the 3 o'clock games on Saturday, and I think Bournemouth, I think it's fair to say, crisis or mini crisis? Big crisis. What do you think? 1 win in 5, and the fixtures are pretty horrible until game week 30. In that time, they play against some bad teams. Chelsea, Liverpool. I'm a bit worried about them. It's just slipping and slipping. And I've had Wilson for a while now, held on. Obviously missed the game at the weekend. I'm a bit worried. When he's not played in the team, they've not scored and conceded 6. I think it would be time for me to get rid of him this week if I hadn't got so many other issues with my team. Don't know what you think about them at the moment, and if it's time to get rid of their assets when you don't have any, but for people like me who do.
I think their form's just a fixture of their fixtures, basically, just as a result of their fixtures. And then it's probably going to continue because their fixtures are bad, basically. I thought, I don't know, they don't seem to be able to do much without Wilson, do they? No. King up top just doesn't offer as much. Stanislas next to Fraser as well, with those two up there. I mean, Fraser was kind of involved, but not really. I thought Brooks looked threatening. He did well. He had that great chance against Everton when it was 0-0, hit the post. Kind of unlucky not to haul in that game because he had a few other chances. Yeah. And he's at 5.1 now. And he is owned by 5.2%. So he's still a pretty decent option, I think. If you're going to go for anyone in Bournemouth, I think maybe him. Because he's had a few rests and he seems to be nailed on to start with Wilson out at the moment.
Just those fixtures. I just look at them and think,
it's just
and
it's tough.
Yeah, I think Wilson's been their talisman, hasn't he, this season? And I think King did okay against Everton in terms of he was getting in the right position to have shots. He had 4 in that game. But yeah, when Wilson sort of like he's elevated himself this season, he's become reliable in terms of the goal scoring and the assist output. And when he's not been on the pitch, like I say, they've suffered. So I don't know. It seems like he's got this again, another hamstring injury, and Howe's always quite vague, saying he's been training and he might travel and he should be in the squad, and then he wasn't in the squad at all. So that is as much an irritation as the fact that he's not playing, because you don't know that he's not playing. I'd much prefer to have made a transfer if I knew he was out last week. So
yeah, I think for your position, I think you would say hold, just because you might be getting that move to Chelsea and he'll probably be first choice. Apparently there's been a 15 million bid for Wilson, but then there's also been rumours that they've had the loan request for Higuain granted or something. So it's up in the air at the moment. They've bought Solanke, haven't they? Yeah. So Wilson, is I don't know where his place is when he comes back from injury.
I know, it's a strange one. I mean, we were talking, weren't we, last week before? I mean, we weren't recording, but we were just talking about it generally, and I was saying it's a funny one. Wilson's flagged, but this time next week he could be a Chelsea player for all we know, because that's when we first heard about the bid. And then why would I get rid of him and lose 0.2 or 0.3 on him? Because I think a Chelsea striker at that price, who's guaranteed to start from now until the end of the season, is a bargain.
Absolutely, yeah. At that point, everyone would have him. That would be a no-brainer, 100%. If he's working with Hazard, definitely Wilson would be in. So,
and for all we know, in terms of the way footballers handle themselves, Bournemouth could have had a bid last week. Wilson's heard about it. He wants to go, and he's refused to train, or he's maybe not injured at all. So it's only what Howe says in the press conference.
Howe would never tell us anyway, because King, Fraser, Stanislas, other people are all supposed to be doubts and all supposed to be out. So, and then 2 of the 3 started playing. So, yeah.
No, it'd be an interesting game, because on the other side of things, I was very impressed with West Ham on Saturday lunchtime against Arsenal. I thought they handled them really well. Solid defensive unit. Declan Rice is just going from strength to strength, isn't he? And he's looking a really, really quality player. And I think
he's a defender as well.
Yeah, he's marked down as a defender. So it's interesting. So he is playing a little out of position, but he's still playing like central midfield, and deep as well. So I don't think he's really
like
getting the team.
He's barely going to get goals.
Yeah, no, that was his first one, wasn't it? And he celebrated like it as well. It was quite sweet, really, because he seems like a West Ham boy. He's been in the academy. But that was good. Yeah. But it was a guy a bit further forward who caught my eye, more ways than one. Sami Nasri back in the Premier League. Yeah, I thought he played quite well actually. At 5'5", I think he might have gone up to 5'6" now. I think he's one to.
He actually risen already. Wow.
Yeah, I think he might have. Well, people just get excited, don't they, Kieran?
Yeah.
Like me, I'm just so excited. I think Nasri might come in. But yes, he if Arnie goes, which is looking like, did you see when he walked down the tunnel? He did the whole.
Yeah, he waved away.
Bye guys, I'm off. Yeah, he did wave them away. So yes, if Arnautovic goes, I could sort of see Nasri stepping. He played number 10 at 5-5. I would have thought that he keeps his place in over Snodgrass, because Snodgrass will probably play. Well, I actually thought Mikel Antonio took Snodgrass's place. I know a lot of people picked up Snodgrass a couple of weeks ago, and that's one to look at. It could be an easy side swap there to Nasri, because I think he's got the potential to have a good second half of the season.
Ex Pellegrini player as well, isn't he? So they've got previous, and obviously he likes him, so he bought him. He played 70 minutes, got that assist, and he looks good. Yeah. Tempo looked creative, and that's exactly what they need to feed. Maybe an Arnautovic, obviously not, but
probably Chicharito.
Well. Anderson, being the kind of creative force too. They look good going forward, and I kind of want to keep Anderson, but because he played a really great game as well.
Yeah.
But just funds at the moment for Salah, I think is obvious. But I like Nasri, possibly instead of Felipe, maybe.
Yeah, I thought, there's a lot of options in that West Ham attack. I think Nasri had the one shot from in the box, which was slightly off target. Anderson had the 2 chances and set up one big chance as well. So the stats are there for Anderson. He pulled that shot just wide, didn't he, from outside the box. I tell you what I loved about Anderson. Did you see that bit when West Ham were on the break and he was running forward and he was putting his glove on? I was like, oh, you boy.
It's just classy.
It is. That was good fun. West Ham have still got some good fixtures as well. They've got Bournemouth and Wolves, 2 away games back to back, and then play Liverpool at home and Palace away. So 3 of their next 4 away. But I think that sort of suits a player like Anderson. Play them on the break a little bit, and I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up a goal or assist in those 3. And like you say, it's difficult because we've got this Kane conundrum now. Anderson is a prime upgradable target in midfield, and it's a shame. It's a shame really, because you can't. It's that thing if you can't have them all really.
Yeah, I would love to keep Richarlison and Anderson for at least this week. Richarlison has had loads of freaking shots as well, and he's been unlucky not to score. Anderson's been unlucky not to score, but like you said, can't have them all. No. Need to have Salah.
We'll talk about our. What do you reckon? Talk about our main transfer plans right at the very end and what we're going to do. Okay. All right, so let's move on to another 3 o'clock game. The person you've just been talking about, Liverpool against Crystal Palace. I think we'll start with a question, shall we? It came in from FPL JK, who said, "Is it worth taking Trent out for a hit, having foolishly just transferred him in, or play the sub Bednarak instead?" So, do you want to pick up on that one?
I think you could probably play Bednarak. Obviously, Trent is gonna drop.
Yeah.
Maybe once, maybe twice. So if it's a team value thing and you're looking at other fixtures, then maybe, because a lot of people are going to be taking hits anyway. So it wouldn't be the worst time to take a hit, but it's also a good time to not take a hit because everyone else will be. So if you've got someone that can play Everton at home for Southampton, it's not the worst. And Bednarak is nailed on. So I think I'd probably just leave it. There's been kind of different reports about Trent. Some saying it's 2 to 3 weeks. Some saying it's a month, maybe more. So if it's only 2 weeks, then you would keep it, right?
Yeah, it's irritating because, like you say, I think he's going to drop in value. And there's a lot of teams that are now starting on runs of, well, I say a lot of, there's 4 teams now which are going to have 4 home fixtures in the next 6. And then, you know what it's like when you have a home fixture against a poor side, the chance for clean sheets likely. So obviously Liverpool being one of those is a real sort of kick in the teeth. For Southampton have also got 4 and 6. So the fact that you've got Bednarak is good. But on the same time, you don't really want to leave a defender on the bench who's 5-5. I think prime replacements in the same bracket for me would be Digne, because I haven't got him, and probably for you it would be Doherty, if you had him at Doherty as well at that price.
Sure, someone like that.
Sure, yes. Lindelof as well, been touted as well, but I think it's not. Is it 0.1 or 0.2 to get Shaw? And I think you. you get.
I think Shaw is 5'3", maybe.
Well, he's not much more, but you do.
Sure.
Yeah, you get that slight attacking threat, don't you? A little bit more.
Yes. Yeah, I think I was going to say Gomez is supposed to be back this weekend, supposedly. According to official FPL on the site, it says he's due back this weekend. But we haven't heard anything from Liverpool saying that he's going to be back. And then Lovren apparently is back in training as well, or just about to be back in training. So I think Matip is close as well. So if you want to try and maybe go for one of them that you think is going to come back, maybe just wait a bit.
Wait a week.
Hopefully hear some news from press conference from Klopp. Someone's got to go there, haven't they? But obviously there is Milner / Fabinho who can play there, and they can maybe play a 3 at the back possibly, because I don't know. It's a tough one, but there is other options, isn't there? There's Digne's, there's Doherty's, there's Pereira, there's Shaw, there's loads of other people you can get who look good and have okay fixtures. So. Yeah, I guess it's up to you, really, what you feel, if you want to take a hit or not.
It's a tricky one. I mean, I probably wouldn't take the hit and play Bednarak this week, but then next week look to get him out, because Liverpool's, you'll know more about what lineup they're going to play and have another week for those players to get better. But if you can double or even single on Liverpool over this run, I think you're going to get clean sheets. Got 10 already so far this season, and I think they're going to pick up at least, maybe two or three, maybe more. They've got Crystal Palace, Leicester, West Ham and Bournemouth in the next 4. 3 of those are at home. The West Ham game is away, so there's going to be clean sheets there. So if you can get which I was trying to do, they've scuppered my plans twice, Kieran. I had Lovren and Robertson, and then I had Trent and Robertson.
You just need to get that extra million and got Van Dijk the whole time.
I know. I don't have maybe now that I'm going to get rid of Kane, I will have that extra money, but I don't know. He's been getting bonus as well recently, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's been picking up some bonus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you had mentioned about Salah earlier, only scoring 1 goal from open play. I was just going to mention some stats that make you think if you haven't got him this week, you've got to get him in. So in his last 5 home games, he's got 3 goals, 2 assists, only 3 bonus total. So he's averaging 7.4 points at home in the last 5. So I think he's almost an essential. I hate using that word, but he's almost an essential for this weekend and a very strong captaincy option. So against a Palace side who've got Hennessy back in goal.
Yeah, or possibly Speroni. I've been hearing that Hennessy might still be injured. But yeah, that's another thing of the Kane injury, that people who don't have Salah, like me, have got an easy way to him now. I had moves to get him in anyway, but Kane out is just making it way easier. So everyone is probably going to do that. Who doesn't have Salah, who has Kane, is definitely getting Salah this weekend. So if you don't get him, you don't captain him, you're probably going to be dropping big time. We can only assume he's going to do well. It's Crystal Palace at home, who have Speroni in goal. Wan-Bissaka's on the other side. Wan-Bissaka ain't going to challenge Salah. No. He'll shut down Mane, but he won't stop Salah. I think it's prime for Salah to do well here, and he's captainable, 100% captain. There's no one really else that you would want to captain this weekend other than maybe Pogba. United players. Pogba or Rashford.
I'm a strong believer as well in that when there's a title race going on, it's such a crucial factor playing first on the weekend, and the fact that Liverpool are playing first against Palace, I think they're just going to want to put on a show and give City a little bit something extra to think about before I know they're playing Huddersfield, but they still want to give them something extra to think about. The fact that they've scored 3 goals in their last 3 home games makes me think that trend is going to continue. More goals against Palace. I think it's primed for Salah captaincy, and I'm irritated I can't double up on defence as well, because I think there's a clean sheet there. Zaha's not scored in 4 months.
It's a win to nil, isn't it, for sure?
Win to nil.
I think. I mean, maybe this is the week that we get surprised and they do concede. Having said all that, Sterling captain against Huddersfield away, that's a big differential on this weekend.
It is,
Salah obviously kept 3 bonus for once in that game, which was amazing. And then Robertson as well, who obviously didn't have any involvements in anything, got the clean sheet and got 3 bonus as well, which is great. And obviously a lot of people have downgraded from Robertson, haven't they? To Alexander-Arnold or or lower to odd Lovren or something, and they probably regretting that decision. But we've kept him all season, and I imagine I won't be getting rid of him anytime soon. No. I think he'll probably be the only player I keep all season.
Yeah, same for me actually. Oh, Salah for me.
Yeah, I should have never got rid of him.
He's now up to 19 bonus for this season, which is the most for the defender, and it's only 2 points behind Aubameyang, who's got the most. So that's crazy. In the Palace camp, even if they get beat 4-0, do you reckon Wan-Bissaka's still going to get 3 bonus? It's probably likely, isn't it?
Yeah, take them from Salah, he gets a hat-trick.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka bonus. How did he do that? 2 goals conceded, no attacking returns, and max bonus.
I saw a breakdown. It was crazy. Like his numbers were just far and away just superior to everyone else on just the breakdown of all the BPS. It's just crazy. He's the next big thing, isn't he? He should start be playing for England, I think, for the senior maybe.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be sort of touted a little bit and they'll shop around a little bit in the summer. People are going to look at him.
Yeah, I think so. Where could he play higher up?
Well, I'm trying. I gave this some thought earlier, and I thought he could fit in well at City. They need. I think Walker. I've been saying to you for weeks, haven't I? Walker's been waning, but I know they've just spent a lot of money in the previous windows. So yeah, I think maybe if he wants to stay in London, maybe Spurs, some competition, but
they've got enough competition at blanks, haven't they? They have. Yeah, Spurs. Not Spurs. Sorry, City. Yeah, they could have them.
Anyway, well, there you go. So, some thoughts. If Wan-Bissaka, if you're listening and you need representation, Kieran and I can work on something, double agents fee, couldn't we? What do you reckon we'd have? Like a 75-25 split?
What, between you and me?
No, between us and him.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, good. All right.
Take it. Big commission.
I'll just see if I can find him on LinkedIn or something. Right, cool. So, the next, have you got anything else to say about Palace? All I've got written down for Palace was Zaha, no goals in 4 months. Lol. No, I haven't got lol, but yeah, no goals in 4 months.
And they need to buy a striker.
They do.
I think.
Yeah.
IU was pretty bad. Zorlof's gone on loan somewhere. Benteke's still injured. I think they need to buy a striker, like a good striker, who's actually going to benefit Zaha.
I was talking.
Yeah, Zaha seems to be further on the wing again. He'll probably be back to midfielder next year. But yeah, I did mention Firmino obviously earlier. Firmino is an option if people want to go that way with Kane for a double up on their attack. Yeah. So fixtures are great. But I think maybe their attacking is less obvious and sure for points than their defence is.
Yeah.
And Mane and Firmino are nowhere near the kind of main men compared to Salah, is he? So, let's move on.
Okay, so United against Brighton, or Manchester United against Brighton. Brighton have lost 22 of the last 25 away Premier League games, and United have scored at least 3 in their last 3 home games. So, what are we saying? Brighton win? No, we're saying big win for United, I think, coming this weekend.
Yeah, I think so. Probably a 3-0, something like that. Maybe even a 4. Rashford should continue starting, I would assume. Lukaku seems to be definitely out of favour. And yeah, I think Lingard was good. Shame he's not doing too much in the sense of FPL.
No.
But he was a big workhorse, played the sort of number false 9-ish sort of role a little bit, and kind of Rashford was going to the flanks a little bit, so was Martial. And Lingard was kind of going through the middle, which was nice to see them kind of rotate like that. Pogba had a great game. Maybe he was lucky not to be sent off because that was a really horrible challenge.
It was a bad one, yeah.
Do you think there'll be like retrospective action on that?
No, because he booked him. I think the policy is if he doesn't get booked, then they can go back and look at it because that's the situation. I can tell you some stats actually about Pogba to get you excited for potential captaincy this week.
Right.
Okay, so in his last 5 home games, 5 goals, 2 assists, 3 bonus, averaging 9 points a game in the last 5, and he had 6 shots against Tottenham. I actually had a look. I think Hazard's maybe averages like 1.8 or 2 shots a game, and Pogba's been averaging over 2.5 shots a game in something like his last 5 or 6 games. So Pogba's putting up some big numbers, and everything I read from Ollie is him saying we've got to get Pogba in the box. That's where he's causing teams damage, and he's clinical. So Pogba is on the must-get bracket for me, and I feel like it's irritating because I've been late to the party with Martial, but there's points at Old Trafford, and I just got to have them.
I was kind of late to the party as well. I've had Pogba for 2 games now, I think, where he blanked and then got assists this week, so I missed his big.
Oh, you
big
did, yeah.
But they got the fixtures, so I'm hoping the hauls are still to come with him, and he seems to be that way. They're full of confidence at the moment, and that ball to Rashford, bloody wonderful.
Quality, yeah.
And I did a tweet as well a while back saying get on to the United defence before it's popular again, and proving to be that. Obviously, De Gea
he did have a stormer.
Really good game, but that's 2 clean sheets in the Premier League in a row. De Gea's a confidence player, so I imagine he's going to continue doing well. The clean sheets are going to keep coming. Get on a defender for almost a differential. Shaw's pretty low owned, Lindelof low owned. Like them.
Yeah, no, agree. I think there's a lot to like. United got I think it's back-to-back clean sheets with that game against Spurs. I had a look at the clean sheet likelihood based on the shots from Tottenham had, and I think it was like a 7%. If like statistically speaking, it's like a 7% chance United kept a clean sheet. But
they were lucky.
Yeah, they were lucky
for sure.
Yeah.
But that's what can happen with De Gea actually on form. And Lindelof, I really rate him. I like him at the moment. He looks like he's growing into that role. And say we sort of say United buy someone else in the summer, in this window to go with Lindelof, other than Jones. If Jones doesn't have any terrible games, then could be looking at getting De Gea in again as well, doubling up in their defence maybe, because the clean sheet's going to come back.
Yeah, no, I think there's things to like there. On the Brighton side of things, we had a question come in from Georgie Zod, who asked, "Is Duffy a potential differential soon?" And I think he means from after the Manchester United game, because I do not see the clean sheet.
I think he is.
Yeah, I think they've got a couple of good fixtures, haven't they? They've got Fulham, Watford, and Burnley sandwiched in between United away trips to United and Chelsea. So I think he could be a really, really good option for those 3, and maybe moving on. He's still a fair price. Alternatively, I'd say Wolves' fixtures are great. I know they've not kept many clean sheets, but they've got the fixtures to do so now. Southampton as well, 3 home games in the next 4. I think, and if you can stretch a little bit more, obviously Digne is providing attacking threat as well. I think, is he 5-2 or 5-3 now? So that's only
5-3, I think.
0.7 more, and I know they've got 4 good fixtures on the horizon as well. So there's actually just like a few teams that are clearing up at the moment to have not really an enabler, but a sort of a less than 4.5 player in your backline. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Newcastle against Cardiff. I'm sure you've got absolutely loads of things to say written down, Kieran.
No, basically. Lejeune came back and looked okay.
Yeah.
Maybe one of their defenders could be a differential. They've got kind of middling fixtures, but the ones that they do have that are green are quite favourable, and they obviously do have a pretty solid defence.
Yeah.
So maybe one of their defenders if you really want to, but I wouldn't suggest it.
No.
And then their attack, no. Bamba or Marison?
Marison. I like him.
Bamba has come in, got 8 points in that game. Yep. Morrison, duo goals, I keep saying. And they have pretty good fixtures as well, actually, Cardiff. So, Camarasa is starting to become a bit of a liability, a little bit, because he keeps getting injured.
Yeah.
Obviously he sounds like the best 5th midfielder ever with penalties, free kicks, corners, but just not happening at the moment with these injuries and kind of coming off, and a bit unlucky.
No, I've been a little bit impressed actually with Cardiff, not necessarily in the game against Huddersfield last weekend, because I don't think they had a shot on target, which is really poor considering how bad Huddersfield have been. But from a defensive point of view, they've now got 6 clean sheets this season, and 3 of them have come in the last 4 games. So that makes me think they're tightening up at the back because they're not scoring a ton. And I think Etheridge is now up to the 2nd highest scoring goalkeeper, and he's got 3 double-digit returns in his last 4 game weeks. So I mean, we should be following Shannon's lead, Kieran, on Etheridge. because he's.
Yeah, I should have, when I went Foster, I should have gone average.
It's funny, I've not really considered him all season. And do you remember he had a good start, I think, on the opening day against Bournemouth? And he may have had double digits. Did he have a penalty save or something maybe in the first couple of game weeks? Anyway, so he's just been ticking along nicely. His penalty saves have helped his score, because I think he saved 2 or 3 this season. And obviously with the bonus that comes with it, that jumps you right up the table. But he's looking good. Like you say, Bamba picked up the bonus. They're 4.6, 4.5 respectively. So yeah, I think good options. And actually going back to the question from George's Odd, the previous question a minute ago, Cardiff, 4 decent fixtures in the next 5. 2 home games against Bournemouth and Watford, away games against Newcastle and Southampton. They're all teams all in and amongst that sort of relegation scrap bottom half of the table. Then I actually don't think Watford are they? They're top half of the table, but the other ones, they're down there.
Yeah, if I've said before, if anything, like these results tell you they can keep clean sheets against lesser teams. So
yeah, I think it could happen.
If you want to go slightly risky, go for it.
I think this match is going to boil down to Rondon against Etheridge, if I'm honest. Newcastle won win in their last 7 Premier League games, and I think Rondon is still their most likely player, even though he's not done it in the last couple. But I think he's averaging 2 shots per game. If they're going to score, man, it's going to come through him assisting or scoring. So yeah, that'll be a good battle to keep an eye on.
Yeah, good goal from Clark as well the other day. So against Chelsea, really nice.
Yeah,
header.
It was a good header, wasn't it? Sorry, yeah, it was a very nice header. Scuppered absolutely hundreds of thousands of people Alonso's clean sheet points, which is probably why we saw Alonso drop in price the other night. But apart from that, great goal, nice one, Kieran Clark. Okay, Southampton against Everton. 3 p.m.
Yeah, Richarlison, main person to talk about, I suppose.
Yeah.
Other than Digne, but yeah, Richarlison had something like 16 shots in this game, or in the past few games or something. Maybe not. No, not in this one game, but in the past few.
I think it's in the last 4 or 5. Yeah.
It's which is way more than anyone else apparently. And yeah, I think he's been unlucky in the last few not to get goals. He's had a few cleared off the line now.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have done more with them, but yeah, he's getting those chances, and I don't want to get rid of him this week. And his fixtures are good. I think he's due goals, isn't he? And he's looked okay. So
are you not a little bit worried because this happened last season? He went quiet.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he is.
And the yellow.
Yeah, but
so you're not.
I don't know. I think it's slightly different this season. I think he's gonna be okay, and he's gonna start getting returns again. Yeah, and this week I feel like he might do it.
All right. Well, I mean, I sort of want to ask you now then, because it makes me think you're not going to get rid of Richarlison for Salah. It makes me think you're going to get rid of Felipe Anderson.
Not necessarily.
Oh, what? You're going to upgrade Gunnarsson?
Maybe.
Oh my god, guys. Okay, well maybe we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I would have thought Richarlison's head is on the chopping block.
Well, I don't know. I'm not actually sure, so we'll see.
He's so out of form. It's funny because he's having lots of shots, but I'd say he's out of form, and the yellow would have made me livid. Anyway,
you've got patience in this game sometimes, and these fixtures are too good.
Okay, but you've already got one person who's been taking advantage of those fixtures, and that's Digne. 1 assist in that game. 2 bonus, didn't he get? And
I don't know. I think it might have been 3. No.
No, I think Zuma got the 3.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yes, I think his Dean's 3 goals and assists have come in his last 7 games, which is pretty incredible. But he's had 1 clean sheet only in those 7 games against Bournemouth. So you are really relying on his attacking output, which is fair enough because he's playing quite wide and he's getting forward. His heat map was Scorchio in the Bournemouth half at the weekend, so I think he's looking good. And surely he is the one big success, would you say, from your wildcard pre-Christmas? Because he's outscored Doherty by a lot now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I like him, rate him. He's good. He seems to be letting Sigurdsson have a few more free kicks lately, which I'm not a fan of. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, he's got great pitches, and hopefully he can continue to do well. He's obviously nailed on, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Provide great value at that price. he was super lucky to keep a clean sheet, I think, because they looked bloody awful in the first half. They were so close to conceding a few times. Pickford is just absolutely awful. I don't know how he's England #1. I don't know how he's Everton's #1. Pickford looked terrible.
He can go through just like looking a bit odd, can't he? Like he's a bit skittish or something. I don't know what it is. Like he's trying really hard or something.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a Joe Hart in him, like getting a bit too pumped up so he just makes mistakes, possibly.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. I also think perhaps confidence was the factor for the whole team because that was only their second win in their last 5, so they needed that one really against Bournemouth. Perhaps, I don't know if you know, maybe someone knows who's going to leave a comment on the video, but why Mina is not first choice at the moment? He was on the bench, wasn't he? I thought they'd started. Yeah, I thought they'd started to play really well when he was in the team, and they went through a really good period around sort of November, early December.
Yeah, I know Zuma scored that goal, but I think Mina is far by and away a better player than Zuma. Like, by far. Like, you don't play for Barcelona for no reason.
No.
Obviously, he got taken away from there, but he's way better than Zuma, like, big time. Like, Zuma gets loaned out by Chelsea because he's not good enough, and Mina would get into the Chelsea team probably. Or maybe not, but he'd be close.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a really good player, so it's an unusual one. If anyone can shed some light on it, let us know because I'd be interested to hear it.
Please.
So on the other side of things, Southampton, they're looking really good. I really like Hasenhüttl because he's introduced academy players, which Mark Hughes would never do, and they've just given the regular first teamers a real run for their money. I think it was something like 50% of the squad at the weekend, so half the squad at the weekend was made up of academy prospects, which was incredible. And the fact that they had someone sent off, was it Valerie, wasn't it, I think, against Leicester, and held on to win, it's huge for them. And I think just that rotation of players, he's managed it really well over the Christmas, considering how fast the games have come. And he's, seeing the dividends of that. So I was, as much as he's doing well with the squad, I was bloody irritated with him that he played McCarthy, because I thought Gunn was going to get a good run in the side. But it shows what he's been doing.
I'm pretty sure I said to you that
you did, but
Gunn was only going to play for those 2 games, and you just...
I'd already made the transfer.
Oh, well.
I hadn't done my research. How did you hear about that? You've been talking to Hasenhüttl behind my back.
No, I think it might have been on the Scoutcast or something like that. Yeah, but I heard it somewhere. And...
Traitor. Who listens? Yeah, no. Okay.
Yeah, you should have done your research.
I should have done my research. Yeah, hold my hands up there. So what do you think of Bednarak? 3.9 option, Kieran. Started last 7.
Yeah, he's someone I'm looking as a downgrade for Alonso for funds.
Yeah.
Possibly. Just because if I want to get an extra midfielder with big price bracket, Alonso to Bednarak seems good. Yeah. He's a benchable guy with Wan-Bissaka and /Gunnarsson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems to be a good option if you need funds.
I agree. I think with the 3 you've got at the moment, and what we've been saying about the potential 3-5-2 options you've got, the fact that you could downgrade Alonso to Bednarak, your 3 defenders now, Robertson, Trippier, and Digne, have all got great fixtures, and they're offering better value than Alonso at this current time. So yeah, that could be really good.
Wan-Bissaka after Liverpool has great fixtures too.
He does, yeah.
So
eye on him. Just before we move on, should we just say congratulations to Shane Long, because he's now scored half the amount of goals he scored in all of last season. He's got 20% of the amount of goals that he scored in the last 2. So that was pretty amazing. Just in that one game, that was.
I've got a nice little stat here as well.
Yeah.
This is from the Totally Football Show.
Was this the manager's one?
Yeah.
I love this one.
So Shane Long's 4 previous goals were under 4 different managers.
That's good, isn't it?
Which I can't remember. It's like Hasenhüttl, Hughes, Puel. Who was the last one? Like, can you remember?
I wonder if that's when he was at West Brom. Like if he's only been at Southampton for 3 seasons. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just...
It's poor, isn't it?
That's appalling for Shane Long. You got to feel bad for that guy. 4 goals under different managers. So that's probably a long time. It's at least 6 months or something for each manager, you'd say.
That is bad, isn't it? I'm irritated I can't think who was there before Puel. But I'll think of it.
Pochettino? No, that's easy.
Was it Ronald Koeman?
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. Koeman, yeah.
And he went to Everton and they got Puel? I don't know. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah. Maybe.
Okay. All right. Someone will let us know, I'm sure. Okay, that was good fun. Right, what else were we going to talk about? Lots of stuff. Watford Burnley. Do you want to do we haven't done many predictions tonight. Should we just do a quick prediction for Southampton against Everton? Not that we always do predictions, but
I'm going to go for a 1-0 Everton, Richie goal, Digne assist. I think that's finally going to happen.
That is just a dream prediction, isn't it? That is what I want most. I'm going to say, I reckon Southampton could put up a good show here. I don't think it'll be a clean sheet for either side. I'm going to say it's going to be 1-1. 1-1.
Sure.
I think. Yeah, okay. All right, Watford Burnley. I was in. Oh yeah, go.
I haven't got much written down here.
Haven't you?
You go.
Okay, well, I was going to say Watford are now best of the rest behind United, which I thought was quite impressive. They did well to come back and win against Palace. I think Palace are notoriously quite defensive, and they got a good record at home this season. So I think they've been quietly going about their business. And Holebas, he's just ticking along, isn't he? 4-8. That's his 6th assist of the season, I think, and that's the 3rd. I think it's either the joint 2nd or 3rd most assists for a defender. And they actually only play one of the top 6 in their next 5, so they've got a decent run coming up. I suppose you'll be quite happy with Foster. He got some good saves as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he got 6 saves, so he hasn't kept a clean sheet for me yet, which I was thinking was going to be a terrible transfer for me, but he's managed to finish 4 points for the last 2 games without a clean sheet, so that's pretty good. Yeah. I'll take it.
No, I think you should be pleased with that. Pereira and Digne had quiet games, I noticed, because I had been looking at them a couple of weeks ago, but they're now totally out of my thoughts. Yeah, they did. It's Deulofeu who caught my eye again. So I don't know if people remember, but before Christmas I was considering getting him in instead of Martial, and nearly bought him at 5-5. He had 3 shots and hit the woodwork against Palace, and he's still playing out of position, only owned by 2.4% of the game, and he's had 4 goal involvements in the last 6. So, I mean, that's the sort of... Well, it's a pretty decent return for someone that's only 5-5. So if Nasri could match that, then I think he'd be doing quite well, really. That's another... That's basically my gauge now in that 5-5 midfield bracket, Nasri and Deulofeu. If they start doing any better, I'm thinking, okay, 5-man midfield, it could be on.
Yeah, and I think Burnley-wise, that this is the 3 wins in a row, I think, including the FA Cup, I think. And yeah, just coinciding with Heaton coming back, I think. Nothing against Hearts at all, but Heaton has come back and given them a bit of a boost, just because he's a fan favourite. And yeah, the goals they scored were not goals; they were 2 own goals, so they're struggling going forward still. But they're maybe turning a corner.
Yep.
What do you think on them?
I think they're turning a corner in that they're probably used to playing with Heaton again. And they're probably the defensive solidarity is coming back a little bit. I'm still never convinced about a Burnley attack. Like the fact they won 2-1, no shots on target and the 2 own goals. It's just a joke. Like, how can that be fun for the fans to watch? I just don't get it. I mean, they never... I don't want to slag them off too much, but they've never interested me as like a fantasy option, the attackers for Burnley. Because I couldn't imagine myself checking my phone thinking, I wonder if Burnley have scored 4 goals today. Who's got the hat-trick? No one! No one's ever got the hat-trick for Burnley. So, yeah, not good enough for me, Kieran. And I can't bring myself to do it. And I won't.
Couldn't agree more.
So anyway, let's move on. Prediction? Because I think this is going to be a good win for Burnley. That's why I mentioned Deulofeu. I thought
Burnley.
Sorry, I meant Watford. Big win for Watford.
I might go 2-1. I'm not fully confident of a clean sheet.
Who's scoring for Burnley? Own goal again?
Barnes, I'll say.
Barnes, okay.
Hendrick assist.
It's probably be a Holebas own goal. For all his new
maybe.
I'm going to say Watford will win this one like 2 or 3-0, I think. Fancy them.
I hope so.
Fancy.
You need that clean sheet from
You
Foster,
do need that clean sheet. All right. So the big one on Saturday night is Arsenal against Chelsea, which I'm quite looking forward to watching. Obviously, Alonso's way sat down on your bench now. We talked about him at the tippy top of the show, but Aubameyang could be a potential replacement. I wasn't that impressed with him against West Ham. They didn't get the service to him, and I think without Ozil and Mkhitaryan playing Guendouzi in there, like what are they doing? What's going on?
There's just an odd feeling at Arsenal at the moment. So. Like I said, and Aubameyang maybe getting chances but not finishing them.
Yeah.
don't want to go near them at the moment. I think Kolasinac still getting loads of chances and getting forward loads, so he still looks quite good. But no one's finishing the chances he's creating because he's the only defender in the top chances created charts of the past few weeks, and he's providing value, but they're not being finished. So just unfortunate for him. If Aubameyang was on fire again or still, Kolasinac would be maybe essential because he's possibly an option for people that want to go down from Trent as well, isn't he? So but they don't keep clean sheets either, Arsenal, do they? So especially unlikely against Chelsea. So but although Chelsea going forward don't look that great either. So
yeah, it's a fascinating matchup because this used to be like one of the games of the season, and now they're sort of hanging around that 4th, 5th spot. We're going to be watching it from a point of view like if there's a draw or if one of them slips up, how Manchester United are going to capitalise because they would have played earlier in the day against Brighton. So that makes that top 4 sort of. I think the top 4 fight is really between these 3 teams. I think Tottenham will finish 3rd. But Aubameyang's he's still in decent form. So he's still had 5 goal involvements in the last 5. And I was actually checking before we came on tonight because I was so impressed with Robertson's 19 bonus points, who had the most bonus points this season. And it's actually Aubameyang who's got 21, which I thought was impressive. So if he's getting a goal or an assist, he generally picks up bonus because he's quite clinical and he's not having too many shots off target. So if you aren't going Rashford or you've already got Rashford and you're looking for that Kane downgrade, I think Aubameyang, despite not having the people feeding him, the fact they've got 4 home games in the next 6, I think he's all right.
I can't see it. There's just no creativity. There's Guendouzi, Torreira, Xhaka, Iwobi. There's nothing there around him. I don't like it. But, I mean, just because of his name, Aubameyang, he can score from anything, and I would like to get it from Kane, but it blocks Salah, and Salah's the one I have to get in 100%.
Yeah, from your point of view, I think Salah's got to be in there. But games against Cardiff, Huddersfield, and Southampton are nothing to be sniffed at for Aubameyang.
Yeah, absolutely. So he is a good option for sure. And
I still think he's a better option than Lacazette. I still think that Lacazette seems down on that at the moment.
He was put out wide in that game, which is a shame. But
so Ozil was off playing Fortnite, wasn't he? So it was Iwobi and Mickey. Sorry, it was Iwobi and Guendouzi had to step up. What do we know about Torreira being benched? Because I know he's still got quite a fair amount of owners. Do we know anything about that? Just a tactical decision?
Sure. I guess.
That's a strange one.
Maybe just a rest, but maybe they thought West Ham would be a walkover and he could rest Torreira.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Maybe.
Maybe a slight niggle injury that we haven't heard of.
On the Chelsea side of things, I just want to talk about Hazard a little bit, because he's just not looking prolific at the moment. I got him in for Sterling, thinking that 2 home games against Newcastle and who was the game before that?
Southampton.
Yeah, I thought not that I was going to captain him because he didn't seem in great. Oh, I did captain him, didn't I, against Southampton? Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did. That's why I've had a bad game week or 2. Yeah, so I thought with those 2 back-to-back games, I was guaranteed to get points over Sterling, and I think Sterling outscored him, didn't he, at home against Liverpool and Wolves. So I was really a bit irritated with Hazard, and I think he had 1 blocked shot in a home game against Newcastle, which is not good enough. I just don't think he's doing it in the central striker role, and until they get a proper number 9 in, I just feel like his points are going to just dry up a little bit. And it's irritating because before the Kane injury, I was all set to get rid of Hazard again this week. I was just going to do a simple transfer. He was either going to go for likely Pogba, maybe back to Sterling. But now that Kane's been injured, it just makes no sense to take a hit to get a player out who's not injured. Don't be wasting points on things. So
I've been looking to bring him in possibly because he's streaky, like we know, and he's probably going to come back on a streak in a big game and probably do well because every time people took him out against before Arsenal in previous years, he goes and scores against Arsenal. So he's got previous in his fixture, and I've been looking to bring him in. Keep selling if you want, but he has been a bit trolly recently, and I can see why you'd be thinking to get rid. But in your case, definitely keep him.
I'm going to keep him now. I think the moment's passed, especially with the Kane injury, and he's got Bournemouth, Huddersfield, and Brighton in the next 5. So I think there's going to be points return there, and he's pretty, like you say, he's proved when he's streaky and when he's hot, he's really hot. So,
and hopefully he'll get better if they get Higuain or Wilson. If he feeds off them, a striker that's hopefully going to be nailed and doesn't get rotated, and he can just work with them week in, week out. Forget about Morata, forget about Giroud or whatever. Just have one striker, and then they can just work.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Hazard returns will come back.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I just need Chelsea to do something. Show me something. Show me a new striker. Before we move on, I just wanted to say about Alonso, just how much his ownership had dipped, because I checked it out. I think he's down about 38% now, and he was 51%.
Yeah.
So the reason is that he's just not had any attacking returns to warrant the price since game week 11 was the last time he had an assist. So that was 11 game weeks ago. He's had 5 clean sheets since then. So yeah, for that, what was almost, I think he was like 7-1 at one point, wasn't he? He's still at the top of the standings for the defenders, but that's mainly due to his start.
He's got Bournemouth away and Huddersfield home in the next few. But at the same time, like, I kept keeping him for other good fixtures.
Yeah.
Like this weekend was a good fixture. Like, I don't know how long you can keep keeping him just because there's great fixtures on the horizon. Like when he will just disappoint you. And he just seems like a different player. He's not getting forward. Hazard doesn't seem to like him. Hazard doesn't even pass to him. I've noticed that. Like when they're going up against, like, on that left, Hazard just turns in and passes away from him, like, every time. And Alonso is often open as well. So yeah, there's something between those two, and he just doesn't seem to pass to him. And Alonso is just not getting forward. Sarri seems to be telling him not to get as far forward.
Yeah.
But he's hit the post a few times, but that's not returned any points. And yeah, I just and maybe there's going to be other things where I don't get rid of him this weekend, because it'll be just his luck to get a clean sheet against Arsenal.
Yeah.
So I don't know about him at the moment. If you're looking to get rid of him and you've got other things and you could bring in Salah or whatever, then absolutely do it. But not sure. Yeah, I'm just not sure.
It's a tough one. I can't get rid of him now. I've got too many other things to worry about.
Yeah.
I got Button, I've got Gaeta, I've got Kane, Wilson, Trent. Too much going on. I actually just had a look while you were... Actually, I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, no, I agree. Alonso's another problem, but there's bigger problems at the moment.
There's Luiz as well, if you want to go down a bit. Luiz is 5'9".
Yeah.
Who obviously got that really nice assist. Seems to be putting balls over the top like that quite often. And he's been unlucky a few times not to get more assists. So, and he takes free kicks, and he's got the chance of headed opportunities from corners. So Luiz seems like the better player to go for there.
I agree. Okay. Sunday, lunchtime game, Huddersfield against City. The reverse fixture was 6-1 to City, which was their biggest league win of the season. Do you think it's going to be similar on Sunday?
It could be, couldn't it? After Wagner's been ceremoniously chucked out with his mutual consent, apparently. Which I think is a bit of a shame for Huddersfield. He seems like the best manager that they could possibly get.
The way I heard about it reported last night on the BBC thing was that he'd said after the Huddersfield game, after the game at the weekend, that he was going to finish at the end of the season. And then they had discussions with the board, and they wondered if it would just be better if they finished it now and they looked for someone else, perhaps if he'd lost the motivation, but if he was mentally drained from it. So yeah, I think he seemed like a good guy, and the fact what he's done for Huddersfield is incredible, really. Taking them from the Championship, I think they were like 19th when he took over, stopped them from getting relegated to League One. They got promoted. They stayed up last season, which is incredible, but I think it's just coming home, isn't it, this season? This squad's not good enough at the end of the day.
Yeah, very true. I could see Man City mauling them, to be honest. At home, they're a little bit better, but for Huddersfield at least. But Man City look to be back on form.
Yeah.
Blowing teams away. Well, maybe didn't blow Wolves away. I mean, it's 3-0. But and all of their City assets are kind of back, other than Mendy, really. Sterling, Aguero, KDB, Sane, Gundogan, Mahrez, Jesus, Aguero. Yeah. They're all there. The Pep roulette is going to be mental.
It is going to be crazy. I'm ready to jump in though.
It's kind of the same as last year. It's like you pick 2 of them and just deal with it.
Yeah.
Or you would just go 3 attackers from City. I'm thinking of possibly bringing in one of their defenders again. They bought, just because I think their fixtures are, well, the next 2 at least are going to be good.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're going to start keeping clean sheets again, and they're going to be differentials in the back line.
I still think their attackers are differentials. Aren't Sterling and Sane both owned by less than 12%, something like that?
Sterling is only like 10%ish. That's why I went captain with him last weekend, because I thought, here we go. Like, if he gets anything like a goal and assist with his 10% differential, I would have gone up big time. It would have been like 60k maybe, but it wasn't to be. But maybe this weekend I could be putting the C on him again. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I've got some. There's nothing really in the Cardiff squad that's really exciting me about this game week or any game weeks to come, because I think usually when a manager leaves in the league, it's because they've been doing poorly and they've fallen out with players and the fans, and there's a bounce when a new manager comes in. Whereas now I don't really see why there would be one. Like, they've left on good terms. It's almost like it's accepted that they're going to get relegated. That's what it feels like from reading all their press releases. Not that they want to openly admit that, but like, we're going to build something. We're going to bring in a new manager. He's going to try his best. But I just don't see how. Let's say bring in some players. I don't see how they're going to really raise their level to stay up between now and the end of the season. So I do think this is going to be a City win by a couple. I think it's been one of those situations where they get the manager in by Friday, but he sort of watches from the stands and he's like, no, this isn't.
I think they said they're promoting their second head coach or something just for the time being.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But yeah, Punchin obviously went there and he played 90 in his first game.
Yep.
So he's opening up a power 3 in the midfield if you want to go that way, for like a 4-3-3. So 4.2 million, proper cheap. If you want to go 4 point somethings in the field and a big power 3, that could be an option as well if you want to go that way. So a Sterling, Salah, and a Hazard or something like that, plus an Aubameyang maybe up top. Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be looking at like Sterling, Salah, and Pogba. I think that as a 3 would be really nice. It does mean losing, the middle guys like Richarlison and Felipe, but it's an option if people want to go that way.
No, I think it's a good thing to do. He's like you say, he's in there 4-2. He's there to create chances for Huddersfield between now and the end of the season. He's going to pretty much play every game. He's definitely the most creative player you can get, which is going to start 90 minutes and every week.
You probably wouldn't ever put him in your squad anyway. He'd just be a bench player. So, but he plays, and that's what you need for bench boost come game week 32, 35, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Before we, on the City side of things, before we move up and just talk about our captains and transfers, unless you've got anything to say, I had a look. City have got back-to-back away games coming up, and I wanted to compare Bernardo, Sterling, and Sane in their last 3 away appearances, just to see how they stacked up against each other. And it was interesting that Bernardo has by far and away got the most, so he's had a goal and assist in that time, racked up 18 points. Sterling racked up a single assist, and he's got 10 points in those 3 games. And most interesting of all, Sane has only got 4 points, right? So he started 1 game, didn't finish, came off after 52 minutes. He had 1 sub-appearance where he came on for 10, and then he had a 90-minute game where he had no return. So Sane's away form has been a bit streaky recently, which I was quite surprised at, because I thought he's the sort of player to play on pace counter-attack when they go away from home, but doesn't seem to be falling that way. Maybe that's just the Christmas period and it's skewing numbers a little bit, but those 3 games, one against the Chelsea games were a tough game to compare, and then they also had an away game against Southampton and Leicester in there. So yeah, Bernardo Silva, those numbers caught my eye, but I think I'm probably going to go the safe pick with Sterling.
I've mentioned Bernardo a few times to you, and you're just like, no.
Yeah, I know.
What do you do? Just like, but he's nailed on.
Yeah.
Well, not nailed on. He has like 1 rest, and then he plays like 10 in a row or something. He's just consistent. He's reliable, and maybe he's the KDB of last season, or for this season, who's just going to keep playing and just get consistent returns.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's funny, every time you mentioned it, I'll be honest, I poo-pooed it. But it wasn't until I had a look at the numbers and saw how he's doing, I was like, well, okay. Let's see what Kieran's talking about here. He's not so crazy. Also crazy. Cool. Yeah. Should we just talk about then our captaincy plans, transfers, and just pick out a clean sheet each just before we wrap up tonight? Do you want to go first with your captaincy?
Salah's definitely coming in, so it'll probably be Salah.
Yeah, I've just got a pen on me. Yep.
And then if I feel frisky, then maybe it'll be Sterling.
Frisky. Oh.
Yeah. Because obviously that fixture against against a managerless Huddersfield way that they can hopefully maybe play on the break slightly, but obviously they won't be. That seems pretty good, and City are in good form. So yeah, between those two, clean sheets, Man City seems obvious.
Yep.
And then a risky one would be Everton away. I think.
Okay.
It might just do it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just do my captaincy. I think I'm going to take not a risk because based on his last appearances, but I think I'm going to go for Pogba when I get him in.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think the fact he's on penalties, and I think that what Ollie's been saying about him and how far forward he's been getting, I'm quite tempted by Pogba now. It's going to be him. It's going to be him or Salah. And what I'm going to do, so if you're not already following us on Twitter, I'm going to do some stat research. The teams they're all playing against, and I'll put that up on Twitter on this Friday. So yeah, check out for that. And I'm sure whatever I find is going to lead me to my final decision. But yeah, Pogba's probably going to be captain. Clean sheets picking out, that's a good one. I'm going to say Liverpool is my banker, clean sheet. So I would expect to see Robertson on at least 6 points on Saturday evening. And an unconventional one. Oh, I wasn't really planning to do an unconventional one, but let me just have a think here. Yeah. I tell you what, I reckon Jan Vertonghen and Alderweireld are going to help keep Ryan Babel quiet. And I think Spurs are going to get a win there. And I think they're going to get a win to 0.
Do you think there's any chance Trivia gets dropped because he gave away that ball for Pogba?
Is Aurier back yet?
I don't think so, but there is Kyle Walker-Peters.
Maybe. But to be honest, it's not the sort of game to play Kyle Walker-Peters in, especially if they've got Skip and Winks playing midfield. They've got Llorente up front. They're going to want as many sort of experienced players as they want for that game. Wolves are going to be whipped up for it because it's a televised game. Fulham fans are going to be whipped up for it because it's a televised game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. I'll say those two. Do you want to run me through your transfer plans? Because we haven't really revealed these to each other, have we? We've been keeping it a bit secret. Top secret plans.
Mine are constantly changing. I've got a few written down here that might be just Kane to Kamara and then Gunnarsson/Anderson to Salah.
Okay.
Which would be no hit. I'd have a bit in the bank if I do Anderson out or /Richarlison out.
Do you have 2 frees then, do you?
I do have 2 frees, yeah.
Glorious.
And then if I possibly want to do a hit, then we Kane. This is another possibly Kane to Firmino, maybe. Felipe to Salah, and then Alonso maybe to Doherty, something like that, or Lindelof.
I like that one less because I'm not keen on Firmino.
Yeah, but he has sort of got form. You know, that hat trick, then that goal, then that blank. He's got the fixtures as well to do it. So
okay.
Yeah, but it keeps changing. I'm not sure at the moment, honestly. I might even think about Van Dijk because I think there's a double. There's plenty of clean sheets to come there. So
yeah.
But then I'm not really downgrading my defence at all, which has been a problem for me because I haven't been able to get 3 proper premiums in because of that.
Yeah.
But Van Dijk points seems to happen all the time. I think he'll be consistent points. So yeah, don't know. I'm sorry. I can't.
That's all right. That's good. It'll give people food for thought. People in your situation as well. So to hear that you're still mulling it over as well, it'll be relief to some people. Now I've got a lot of issues to contend with. So Gaeta, it sounds like he's got a calf injury, so he's going to be out for a few weeks. He's 4-2, just going to be rotting on my bench. Arnold, like you say, is out for at least 2 to 4 weeks. Wilson, who knows with how. And Kane. I just checked actually a minute ago while you were chatting. I was going to bring that up. For any owners of Button like me, Australia beat Syria today, or was it Libya? Syria. It was Syria. 3-2 in the Asian Cup. So they're through to the playoff round. So that means Matt Ryan is going to be staying away for at least another week or 2. So despite having absolute honking away fixture, I'm going to play Button this week. I'm going to do Kane to Rashford tonight because Kane's dropping and Rashford's rising, and then I think I'll try and ride out as much of the week as I can until I find out what's happening with Wilson. But more than likely this week, I will do Kane to Rashford and Martial to Pogba. And if I'm feeling ballsy, I'm also going to do Felipe Anderson to Sterling. So that'll leave me with a midfield of Sterling, Hazard, Salah, and Pogba, which is...
So that's -8 or
that'll be
-4?
-8, yeah. So I had a look. So
you've only got one free transfer?
I've only got one free transfer, yeah. Because I used 2 last week to get bloody Gaita and Anderson, and they both got injured. Idiots. Yeah, it's a tricky time, but this is where fantasy gets interesting. You've got to overcome these challenges and these little setbacks and these things that throw you off. And -8 sets me back 10,000 places. I had a look at it, so I dropped to 46,000 before a ball's kick next week. So
it's not a lot of people are going to be doing it as well.
Exactly, so that's what I think. I think it's going to be... Yeah.
Yes.
As I was going to say, you're right. I was just about to say there's going to be pointless flying around.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever taken a -8 in the 8 seasons I played either. I've been that conservative. I've taken -4s, but I don't think I've ever taken a -8. But the fixtures and the injuries almost call for it. All I say injuries, Martial and Felipe aren't injured, but I feel like Pogba's going to have a stormer, and I feel like Sterling's got these 2 back-to-back away games. Oh, Kieran, it's difficult.
Okay. So you don't want to get Alexander-Arnold out?
Not this week, because I want to find out if Lovren's coming back in next weekend. And I just don't want to take a -12. It'd be too much.
Yeah, no.
Blimey, that's just like...
Seems right.
Yeah, season wrecking.
You didn't think about wildcard at all?
I did, but it just seems it'd be such a shame to waste it. Well, because all these potential doubles we've got coming up, I say all these, some of which we'll cover in. We might do a separate... I was thinking about this earlier, sorry, just to hit you up with ideas on the fly and everyone else, but maybe we'll just do some separate videos for double game week planning.
I think we probably should.
Yeah, because I'm probably going to keep my wildcard back for them, but yeah. And I'm just going to try and manage my team with maybe like a -8 this week and then a -4 maybe the week after, just to sort things out. Cool. Is there anything else you want to add tonight? We're going on for nearly an hour and a half, so if you've stayed with us so far, woo, we love it.
Yeah, I think we've covered it. Well done.
I think we've covered it. We've done really well tonight. It feels like, because we didn't have a show last week, I was away on holiday, selfish I know, but we've got to do these things. We're going to be back, aren't we, now, every week until the end of the season. That's 16-ish game weeks, 15-ish game weeks to go.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So we'll be back this time next week with another preview show. Keep an eye on our Twitter page for further updates this week. We've got some content scheduled to go out, with some captaincy analysis, which will be going out on Friday. If you've got any questions about your team, Kieran, you love hearing about that sort of thing on Twitter, don't you?
Yeah, hit me up.
You do. And I like answering all the questions on YouTube. So yeah, if you've got anything for us, let us know. If you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Apple Podcast, or subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, because we're all over it, aren't we, really? We've got bases covered.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So until next week, it's goodbye and good luck from me.
Cheers and good luck.
Cheers and bye, guys.